Glad I bought Bitcoin, next stop 50K. Wall of institutional money coming 2021. Buy below 20K. If you missed Bitcoin, buy silver. Silver set to move due to AOC's Green New Deal. America in trouble. Future bright for gold, silver, Bitcoin, and entrepreneurs.
Bitcoin boom beating gold and silver. What does that mean? It means you better buy as much as you can now. The train is moving, the dollar is dying, silver is still affordable for everyone. And as the dollar crashes, what counts is not price, but how many coins of gold, silver, or Bitcoin do you own?
Is it too late to get into Bitcoin? Where do you see it going?
I view Bitcoin, for example, as an emergent store of value. So it's because of its volatility, it's kind of currently being in the process of finding its total addressable market. So it's a very volatile asset. So it's basically, technically, it is a store of value that can be self-custodied and basically held outside the system, similar to gold. But because it's so volatile, it's more like it's an investment in the idea that it's becoming a store of value rather than one already, except for people that are really hardcore of it and kind of just completely ignore that volatility. And so basically, when I first analyzed the crypto space in detail back in 2017, I passed on it. It was late in that cycle. We had that really euphoric price action. It basically made it so there's a big enough asset that someone like me that looks at multiple asset classes, it basically became on my radar. But the combination of euphoric price action and the big dilution among all these different altcoins and everything really kind of put me off the space, and I passed on it. Then early 2020, I became bullish on Bitcoin because the biggest downside of cryptocurrencies is, unlike say fiat currencies, that they're mandated to be used by a government, and then you have precious metals where there's only a handful of precious metals. You can't make more of them. You basically they're each limited to how much we can extract from the earth. You can't just make a whole new precious metal to compete with the existing ones.
It's always the entry point. Like, I bought Bitcoin at 9,000 and I thought I was being fleeced. But the reason I bought it at 9 was because COVID shut down the world economy. So I thought it was pretty, when they started printing, so I bought Bitcoin at 9. I wish I'd bought it at 10 cents, like a lot of people did. But now I look like a genius because today it's around 55,000. This is April 2021. And I think it's going to go to 1.2 million in 5 more years. So I don't save dollars because I don't trust the US dollar. And I just save gold and silver and recently Bitcoin. And the reason is because of 1971, when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, the dollar became fake. So now that COVID has hit and they printed more money in 2020 than they did in the first 200 years of our country. And still people are saving dollars. You should be buying some gold, some silver, and we can afford it, Bitcoin.
But the downside of cryptocurrencies is that anyone can make a new one, and that threatens the value proposition, even if each individual currency has some degree of scarce monetary policy. And so really what it comes down to is whether or not one or two of them can develop a strong enough network effect where that long tail of thousands of other currencies don't matter. Kind of like how if a certain technical protocol takes over, like the whole internet runs on TCP/IP, it doesn't matter if there's like copycats out there, because the network effect is so strong that this 50-year-old technology has become the foundation of the internet and is really kind of still going.
So the question of what separates Bitcoin from other cryptocurrencies, because when I initially covered cryptocurrencies years ago, my biggest issue was, okay, so Bitcoin's neat, it's got a hard cap of supply, but anyone can fork the protocol and make their own version. Someone can come along and copy it and change the rules a little bit, make their own version. And so my concern was that if Bitcoin or another big cryptocurrency doesn't capture most of the market share, then any capital that goes into space can become very diluted among multiple projects. We tend to see that happen during bull runs. They have what's called alt season, where capital starts pouring into some of these lower quality projects. And then usually in the bear markets, it goes back to Bitcoin. My question was long term, what's kind of preventing that from diluting the industry? And when I did more research on it, I basically determined that Bitcoin probably has reached a critical mass of network effects. And if that's the case, they can accumulate a lot of long-term value while these other protocols, don't really play much heed to it.
Overall, I am pretty bullish on Bitcoin as a kind of a portion of portfolio that is adjusted for volatility and basically adjusted for someone's conviction in the asset class. And so, there are people that go really hardcore and they put all their net worth in it or something like that. Whereas I take a step back and I say within the grand scheme of portfolio, along with my equities, along with precious metals, I do like having a Bitcoin slice in there. And I think that so far it's improved the risk-adjusted returns of the portfolio. And I am pretty optimistic on the technology. But basically my main risk analysis, or basically the thing I'm always critical on, is the network effect basically strong enough to kind of hold back all these competitors?
The Bitcoin I bought, thank God I was buying it at 9,000. And today it's worth over $1 million. But the reason for that has nothing to do with gold, silver, or Bitcoin. It has to do with the incompetence of the Federal Reserve Bank, or the corruption of the Federal Reserve Bank, the U.S. Treasury, and Wall Street. So I'm not saying Bitcoin, and people get into what I call pissing matches. Which is better, gold or Bitcoin? Who cares? The question is, how much do you have? That's all that counts right now. Because the reason you buy gold, silver, or Bitcoin is for the same reason. If you trust the U.S. government or the central banks, the Fed, and Wall Street, then save money. But if you don't, then buy gold, silver, and Bitcoin. And the thing I like about Bitcoin is that I can run with it. It's just a number in my head. And my trouble with my gold and silver, I got so much of it, I have to lug it. It's hard to get it around. So when I started looking into Bitcoin, it was already starting to come up, so I started buying it around 9,000. And today I think it's around 15 or 16,000. I don't know what it is. I don't count that. I just count the number of coins I have. That's it. And I'm buying more.
I would advise people to be somewhat cautious with that because, this is potentially an asset that still has a ton of upside over the next decade. And I think the main thing is just to make sure you have some allocation to it rather than trying to be too clever. In addition, depending on where someone is in the world, they might have capital gains taxes that they pay on it. So trading in and out of it can be a tax inefficient strategy compared to holding it for a decade.
So they're going to print more and more money, and people are still saving dollars or yen or euro or pesos. Right now, you should be saving gold, silver, or Bitcoin. So I'm still advocating it all. I prefer gold and silver, I do, because Bitcoin is still untested. But I have the wherewithal to withstand the hit if it goes down.